Greetings. We are here. We are back. We are live again. Vontel, that is live. We're not in the lab. We're in another location. Today at Savannah State University, they held their pinning ceremony. So we had to go over there and pin some of our family members from 1501 in the house. They are now going to be graduating on Friday from Savannah State University. Glad to be back live again with regards to us being able to talk. We have a guest that'll be joining us this evening. That's Coach Robert Deloach. And the topic is our government failing our kids? And it's failing our kids with regards to a certain area, with regards to recreation. And so, let me back up. We're saying recreation, but it's more than recreation. It's with regards to life. It's about helping them out, because we often go and see individuals talking about what is happening. I should say, and we hear individuals talking about what is happening with our youth, and then we point the finger at them all the time. But then we're not realizing that we're playing a role with regards to that. We're playing a role with regards to what we see when they're being destructive. That is particularly the ones who are being destructive. We know that there are a number of us who are out there, our youth, who are out there doing wonderful things, doing great things. And that's what we want to see more of that. Always see more of that. We want to see no one doing anything wrong, doing anything evil. But guess what? We point the finger at those who are doing evil when we got individuals who should be responsible for making sure that they are taken care of. We're supposed to look at, when we look at our political leaders, this will do it. Health, safety, and general welfare. General welfare, that is the well-being, that is the quality of life for our people. And so we see them failing us at times. And so we have Coach Rob Deloach on here. Some of y'all know Coach Rob Deloach. And we're so glad to have Coach Rob Deloach. His daughter Taylor went to The Ohio State University, as they like to say, The Ohio State University. His son Kalen is at Florida State University. His son Jalen, now we got the news. I had to find out on the streets that Jalen, who was at VCU, who I've talked about, I had to find out on the streets that Jalen now will be at UGA playing basketball. Kalen, he's an athlete playing football. Taylor, she's an athlete. She was in track. Now Jalen, he will now be at UGA. And for those of you, and we will, if Coach Deloach says something to the contrary, just ignore it. Jalen is an alum of HVJ Jenkins High School. He transferred to Berkmar. He left from Savannah, then went to Berkmar in Atlanta, and so then went on now at VCU. But now he'll be at UGA this coming fall. Coach Deloach will probably be coming back on. But yes, we're going to talk about how our governmental entities, and that again, state and local, that is city and county, are failing our youth. Now, if you take it personal, that was your elected official. If we're not calling you out, not saying anything about you, then don't sweat it. But you know that there are people who are not doing what they need to do. So we ain't calling everybody out, but we're saying, because we're all in this together. When they talk about Black folks, guess what? I know that I'm a part of this with regard to when we talk about Black folks and issues that we got to deal with. So I don't sweat it. I know it may not be me, but then again, we're going to find a way to deal with it and address it. And so again, Coach Rob Deloach, we just wait for him to come back in. We're going to then jump immediately to this conversation with regards to how we have matters happening here in this city, elected officials and other people who are supposed to be working on behalf of our youth and not fulfilling that with regards to that. And some of you as parents and adults, you are guardians of them, you just letting it slide by also. So we all have a role in this right here, and we want to see some changes to occur. And so again, wait for Coach Rob Deloach to come back in, because there's some things that I want to get into, but I don't want to necessarily jump into it right now with regards to if we then get Coach Deloach in, because there's some things even we have we have cheered on some of our locals with regards to the new celebrity for them, or I should say, largest celebrity for them. We cheered on some of them, but then people not realize that there's a lot of other things behind the scenes that we should be attuned to, and that so when your children, your youth, your family members, your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend is now walking down that road, that again, you can at least give them some guidance with regards to that. And so we still, as I said, still waiting for Coach Rob DeLoach. But we're glad to be back here. We're glad to be back here. And we're going to have some other features we're looking at with regards to Montel that also, that again, we deal with history, culture, commentary, social economics, and all that with regards to finance and us having a sense of pride. And so we're going to deal with that. But then also move into another area too that we're going to look at with regards to many of you we found are out there. And you have an interest with regards to chemistry. Again, because when we had Darren Hopper on here, so we're going to look at having him as a feature on our show, a monthly feature on our show. He's receptive to that, so we'll be doing that with regards to Run Tell That. And then also we're looking at regards to farming, because we found a number of you also out there now farming, understanding. And some people thought that we were disconnected from it. I said, no, we're not disconnected because people still been doing it. And so now we have even more people telling us that's what they've been doing. Their backyard farm, their backyard gardening, and with regards to that. So we're going to be showcasing some of that because, again, you cannot have a revolution if you can't feed yourself. And so, what is indicated that Coach Rob DeLoach, his connection is acting up. So, I guess we would go and elaborate on some other things. And so, right now, you may find people not trying to deter. We have political campaigns that are now coming up here in Chatham County, in the city of Savannah in particular, and some of the other municipalities. We have city election, municipal elections happening right now. And what is going on in one of the districts that you find some people now trying to chomp at the bits to try to destroy the character of some of the candidates. That, again, we can say that is a part of politics. That's something that happens. That's how politics operate. Okay, cool. But then, just like I tell folks, sometimes the people who are bringing this negative stuff to you, they not looking out for some of y'all interests. I'm saying to the African American community that when they're coming at you trying to besmirch the character of Black people, trying to destroy, I say besmirch, some of you may not say, what is that? Trying to destroy the character of Black people, you need to think about who is doing this and why are they doing this? And do they look out for you? They may be telling you something right now to destroy this person over here, but go back and look at their story and you'll realize that they have always tried to attack all of us. They have caused harm to all of us. So again, we say to you, when they're coming at you with this information, trying to destroy the character of some of the candidates running for office, you need to rethink some of this right here and assess who's the person giving you the information, who's bringing it to you. And y'all see the Malcolm painting that was done by Panhandle Slim, my brother Scott, Panhandle Slim. This one with regards to Malcolm. Just like when Malcolm was assassinated, one of the brothers who assassinated that brother Mujahid, as he said in the interview, he said some brothers approached us and said, hear what Malcolm is saying, and basically putting us to go basically assassinate Malcolm. But the brother said, Mujahid said that I don't know who approached those brothers. Right. That's the chain of events. See, because again, somebody's coming and bringing that to you, but in turn, they bring it to you, and you don't know why they're bringing it to you or who told them to do it. And so, what we have realized, and we know that you have people who are these forces who try to work against any independent type movements, any type of independent thought, that you have elements that give constantly fighting with regards to trying to keep you blinded. And so when these people again come at you and they're trying to put down your candidates, you need or candidates who are running the third district in particular, you need to address that. Which they are doing in other districts also, but you need to address that with regards to why are they breaking, why they coming. And so we now have Rob DeLoach, and we have some of the people in the audience, Coach Rob DeLoach, some of our family, the family of Run Tell That. They say they are so happy to know that JJ went to HVJ before he went to Berkmar. So again, just want to let you know that. So Coach Rob DeLoach, we'll let you go ahead. We'll give you the floor, Coach, because again, our topic is our government failing our kids? Coach DeLoach. All right, let's see. Coach DeLoach. Coach, can you hear me? Don't know if the connection's still. Can you hear me, Coach? All right, well, he's gone. Okay, maybe gone off camera. So again, but we're glad to be back, and we say run tell that. All right, Coach Deloach.
Yes, sir.
All right, so our topic is, which you and I have had some conversations about this before, you and Coach Carter also, is our government failing our kids. So that's why we want you to elaborate. We'll talk about some other things. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. How you doing? Glad to have me on.
Yes, sir. Your camera just is out. Okay, camera back on now. Okay.
So, I'm always going to be on this topic of what are we doing for our young people here in the city of Savannah, and since I was last on here, we've had kids that have won national championships in football, and now we've had a young lady win a national championship in basketball, and then you know, and now it's that time of the year where they want to come home and be able to give back. And we really don't have a facility for them to come and be able to plant seeds with those kids here in Savannah without going through all of the politics of trying to get a gym, and that's been a lot of red tape. And once again, our school systems, our city leaders have failed our young people. Whereas that when these young ladies and guys come back, they don't have a place to give back. And I'm going to continue to be an advocate for our young people having opportunities other than to work in the hotels and the restaurants and clean up the streets of Savannah, Georgia.
And so, Coach, why you say that they don't have access to places? Why you say that, Coach? We have gyms around here. We have gyms throughout the entire city: South Side, West Side, East Side.
Well, ride by them, Dr. Jamal, and you'll see that most of the times, at least when it comes to the football fields, they're all locked up. They have chains on them, or they're being utilized by some private organization that has booked the calendar from here to 20 whenever. And even if you want to go out there, you can't get on the calendar to be able to use the facilities. That our city and county parents are paying for these services that they can't use.
And Coach Deloach, you're saying that. So, are there some fields that you can tell us that you've observed that, or not just you just saying it, but what are some fields that you've observed that?
Memorial Stadium, for one, was ran by the county, and Daphne Park, Bacon Park, all of the parks that have turf fields, and none of the other parks actually have, when it comes to football, have a football field other than the ones that are turf fields here in the city of Savannah. And you know as well as I do, you can't use the high school fields for whatever reason. So I don't know what they expect these kids to do. The summer's coming up, and they don't have any outlets. I know what they're going to do. They're going to end up in trouble, end up in the juvenile system, and unfortunately, they may end up in jail.
Well, Coach Deloach, we got basketball. I mean, we got gyms for basketball, rims and racks and all that, and probably some volleyball also. So what's up with that, Coach? I mean, you say they don't
Well,
have anything to do during the summer. They can go to the gyms.
no, they got summer camps in those gyms. Not every kid is going to be eligible to go to a summer camp. Like we have Blackshear Park, which our city leaders just had a ribbon cutting and celebrating, the renovation of Blackshear Park in honor of, Roscoe Scolo Edwards. And the park gate has been locked ever since that event was held with the police department and the fire department. So it was just a show and tell. And, you ride down Wheat Street now, the gates are still locked.
Cool. And good evening, Reverend Betty Jones. Glad to have you with us because, again, we are now live again. We're able to be live again with the Run Tell That shows. And so, Coach Deloach, you're trying to tell me, and so again, for the person sitting at home right now, Coach Deloach, you're trying to tell me, Coach Deloach, that we did, and I had saw basically the reopening of Blackshear, and heard the words about it, with regards to that what was done. So you're trying to tell me that we did this on one day, and the next day we locked it up?
It was locked
Coach
up
Deloach,
the same
I
day.
can't believe something, Coach Deloach. I can't believe, because I know you come from Beach High School and y'all will fabricate stuff at times. But Coach Deloach, I can't believe you trying to tell me that we celebrate renovating it and then the next day we close it down.
The same day we celebrate it, it's closed down. It ain't the next day, it's the same day. So the kids that live in the Blackshear community, the kids that live on Harmon Street, the kids that live on Gwinnett Street, the kids that live in Fred Wessel, the kids that live on East Broad have no access to that park. None. Not even the homeless people who live across the street can go over there and have any recreational.
So those of you just now coming into the show, looking at the show, or been on the show, I had shared with y'all that we're discussing about our government is failing our children, and then we're looking with regard to recreation in particular. And we have said that we have people who are in positions to help provide for the health, the safety, and the general welfare, and that involves quality of life. So, Coach Rob Deloach just shared something. If you don't think it's a problem, I see it as a problem. I have to be honest with you with regards to that, all of you, because if he says we not have this fanfare about the renovation that we have done, but now all of a sudden, I want to say they closed it down the next day. He said it was right after they not do it. They do it in the same day. Is
Yeah.
that not a problem? Is that not a problem? And we need to be thinking about, should we still have those people in positions of power? Should they be in positions with regard to elected officials? Should there be people even appointed to those positions? Should those be people who are working in our government? What's your thoughts on that, Coach Deloach?
Well, if the citizens of Savannah, I can't change it for them. I can just share, my experience and what I see in the direction that our city recreation is going. It doesn't benefit our young people.
Okay. Okay. So if I have a child, I have a son who wants to play football, what's the alternative, or what must he do? Well, what actually not what must he do? What must I do to get my son to be able to play football? Now we use football for right now. What needs to happen for me to get my son to play football?
Well, unfortunately, you're going to have to sign up with a team that plays travel ball because the city and the county really doesn't have facilities for these kids to practice. And they don't support the organizations. I mean, I can't say don't support them. I think last year, a couple of years, they have been providing some financial support for some of these organizations, to be able to buy uniforms and things for these kids. But what has happened now, because we're 20 years behind the game, AAU sports have taken over most of the majority of the cities around the country. So everything has become about exposure and travel. So if you got a young athlete, now that wants to get, recognized and get exposure, they have to almost play travel football. When the city, in most cities around the country, you used to be able to have your local sports. But now, because of all of the money that's involved in youth sports now, you got to go on the road. So on Saturdays, when you used to be able to go out on the park and watch your son play, now you having to travel to a city to play a team for travel football.
Yes, sir.
And that's not like basketball when you're talking about 8 to 12 kids. Football, you're talking about 20 to 40 kids. So that's a lot of resources taken out of the city. It's a lot of resources that parents are going to have to make some sacrifices for in order to see their child play, rec league football.
Okay. So now that we have traveling teams, and so again, those of you who are not aware of this, but you have traveling teams regarding football, where now you have youth who are leaving the city, leaving the county. They're not going out to other locations now to play because we don't have our partially tied to we don't have our facilities open and accessible. And so when they are able to practice, coach, what type of environment do they practice in?
Well, they're practicing for the most part. If you're playing in the city, you're practicing on the grass at Daphne Park, where you have the dogs running through the park. You having the sprinkler systems popping up. You having you having the potholes and things like that. So it's not conducive for kids to practice on those fields when it's not set up for that. When we have on Daphne Park especially, you got a turf field that those kids want to play on, and they should have the opportunity to practice on the fields that they're going to play on. Just think about it. If you're practicing basketball, for example, you're playing outside on concrete. Well, when you go play in a tournament, you're not playing on concrete. You're actually playing in the gym. So you have to get used to playing in the gym because the ball travels different in the gym than it does outside playing on outdoor courts. So the game has changed. Same thing with football. Most schools don't play on grass anymore because it's high maintenance. You got to maintain it. With turf, you just put some beads down every year and you treat it, and then it's wear and tear. But our facility our stuff is probably going to dry rot for lack of wear and tear on the fields because they're not being utilized.
Okay. And what about with regards to track fields that we have here?
Doc, and I hate to say this, you're an alumni of H.B.J. Jenkins, and you let the city and the world know. You're very proud of them. But your school allowed them to build a $2.1 million track that can't be utilized for any track meets because they're not regulated. So whoever had that project, there was not an overseer, and now you got to go back and get more money to correct what should have been an easy layout. It's like laying carpet. You can't lay a whole house of carpet and realize, oh, I'm a couple of yards short. No, because I'm not going to give you that money. So if I trusted you with the contract and I had people in position that knew what they were doing, then Jenkins could use their track, but they can't. So unfortunately, we have 9 public high schools here and 5 or 6 private schools that all have to travel out of the city of Savannah and go to South Effingham, Southeast Bullock to participate in their track meets. And the one private school that has a regulated track, they only have 6 lanes. And I don't know in the hell would design a track with only 6 lanes when there are 8 lanes on a track. And in some institutions, it's 9 when you're talking about, professional level. So, and fortunate enough, Savannah High Track was able to be utilized, I believe, for the region meet. But when you take Savannah State, for example, is closed down for the month of May until their graduation. And in a week or so, our high school kids will be preparing for state track meets. Well, you can't take 9 public schools and 5 private schools and crowd all of them at Savannah High to practice. It just doesn't make sense. But we expect our kids to perform at a high level when we don't have the resources. And I'll take it one step further. What we're doing in Savannah is like the governor of Florida. We want to take everything away and ban it, that they don't have anything else to do.
Okay.
And that's strong. When you got all of these young people with these brilliant minds that, they have to have an outlet. Yes, they're going to get the academics, but they have to have an outlet. And the outlet is we don't provide those services for them to be successful.
And so Coach Rob Deloach is on here. And Coach Rob Deloach just said that, one, we're looking at economic impact with regards to our community, with regards to youth, and with regards to recreation. Why is that important? Because, again, it provides outlets for young people. It provides outlets for young people to not engage in something that's positive for them as they are growing. And so you hear about teams not having access or organizations not having access to fields to practice on, to play on, that they're locked up. So we got that. Then we have a track field that's at Herschel B. Jenkins High School that's not regulated. Then also I heard that we got a situation that even Savannah High School, that track field too. So again, we have that. And again, monies were paid out for that. And so we have Coach Rob Deloach on. We're discussing some of this. And so because again, they are failing our children. And so you have to give them a grade. You have to say something D- or failure for them also, because now people do not have access, but monies were spent. Somebody got paid with regards to that. Some businesses got paid. Some engineering firms got paid. They got paid. Construction companies got paid with regards to that. But then they complain about other people.
Yeah, so, and it's private contractors. So it's not like it's local people in Savannah that probably got the contracts to do the work. They brought those people from out of town because when they put these bids out, it's nobody in Savannah that I know that build tracks because we don't have any. You know, so they have to bring those contractors from outside, and they just bid on it. And whoever has the best bid is the one to get the job. But if you don't have an overseer of the project, then hey, they're gonna take the money and they run, and then you stuck. You know, so you stuck with Jenkins High School that can't use a $2.1 million facility for track.
And not only that, Coach Deloach, not that we're picking on Jenkins. Again, you said people know I'm a proud, person. I talk about Jenkins. I put it out there, but then also the layout of the football field. Can you share about that, Coach Deloach?
Like I say, Jenkins High School built a brand new school for the ground up, and they built a football facility that you can't host a game on because they built it with no intent of having bathrooms or bleachers or scoreboards for that field. So basically, you spend all of that money just for kids to walk out and have recess like we in 3rd or 4th grade. And that's basically what it is. You can't utilize it. Now, the other part of that is that the people in the community said that, hey, we don't want to host football in our community. And no one in that community or in that school said, you know what, you're right. So it's just like Islands High School. The people in the community say, yes, you can have games, but at 9 o'clock, those games have to be over because we don't want to hear the band and we don't want to hear all that music. But when you look at Memorial Stadium, football has been played out there for 70 years. It's just part of the community. You know, you accept it and you embrace it. But when you don't have people that sit at the top to make these decisions that can, you know, work a relationship with the community that we build in these new facilities in, then that's what happens. The kids suffer in the end.
Absolutely. And monies have been spent, and we're gonna hold other people accountable and check on other people, and we attack poor people. But then here go people making decisions. Here you get, people got paid millions of dollars. They got 6-figure contracts, and they got all of that, and they went along with this regard to that football field, how it's designed, that it is facing north and south, as opposed to being east and west. Yeah. And with regards to that, then you got a track field. But then we don't hold anybody accountable. So then we look at the school board, look at the county government, and also city. So, Coach Deloach, do they talk to one another? Are you aware of them talking to one another?
No. I mean, why would they support each other? You would think when what is maybe 150,000 people in Savannah, Georgia, the city of Savannah, and the county of Chatham, is that, you know, as small as we are, I think we're the second largest, or we may be the first largest revenue city in the state of Georgia, because of the things that we can do here. You know, people want to come to Savannah, and kids want to come because we have the outlet of having the beach, and because we're not in partnership with Tybee Island, Chatham County, Savannah, that we miss out on a lot of opportunities to bring in revenue that would actually pay for these facilities and the resources to have them open, so the kids can actually benefit of using them.
Coach, I listened to you.
Hold on, Doc, before you go there, right? Let's play this out. There's only been 2 first-round draft picks that ever come out of Savannah, Georgia. 2. The first one is Purvis Ellison. And there's no mention of no street name. There's no sign. There's no home of Purvis Ellison, #1 draft pick and national champion and freshman MVP in the city of Savannah. The basketball court is not even named after Purvis Ellison. So, and now you have Nolan Smith, who has won 2 national champions, a first-round draft pick. And there's no parade, there's no celebration. For not only Nolan, you got Warren Brinson, you got Kamari Lassiter. There are 4 or 5 kids on the University of Georgia football team that are either from Savannah or one in Effingham. And there's no recognition for these kids. So why would they come back? How do we build a relationship with the younger kids to say, hey, if he can do it, I can do it? Because we don't celebrate that type of success. But if one of those kids go out and get in some trouble, the first thing we're going to say, former first round pick, such and such and such, got arrested. Yes, we're going to celebrate that. And that's unfortunate. So now we have Flau'jae Johnson, who is an exceptional young lady. Not only is she talented on the court, she's talented, in her performing. And that's an art. But, we have certain individuals want to celebrate Flau'jae and give her a street name. Well, this is nothing new. It's already been done. We've had national champions before. So we're not going to hold Flau'jae because she's not the one that, she's in a position to receive this. But you can't do for one, like the old people say, you can't do for one child and not do for the other. And, there's a lot of negativity around it because we had some out of the county and, our state representatives say that we're going to put a street named after Flau'jae Johnson in a neighborhood that she's not even familiar with. So are we really trying to do something positive in the neighborhood that she grew up in to say, hey, I came from here and if I can, you can as well? Come on, man. What game we playing, man? Who we think we fooling? When you ride up 16, you should see a sign say, home of NCAA Women's Basketball National Champion Flau'jae Johnson. You should see a sign on 95 in town that says Purvis Ellison Road, a street, overpass. You should see Nolan Smith and Warren Brinson and Kamari Lassiter, guys named blasted all over billboards in the city of Savannah, Georgia. But yet again, cricket.
I'm sitting here, and I will say to anyone looking at the show, you heard Coach Rob DeLoach, and Coach DeLoach, I want to go to another point you said, but I got to go back on something else you said. You're saying that the street that will be renamed for Flau'jae, that's not a street connected to a community that she knows.
No. Her family grew up on Victory Drive and Florence, and her granddaddy grew up on 42nd in Florence. Tammy Green and Oscar Tyson are her grandparents. They're Beach High. They are friends and alumni of State Representative Carl Gilliard. Let's call it what it is. And nobody at that level ever spent any time with Flau'jae Johnson and helping her develop. Her parent moved her out of the city of Savannah to give her a better opportunity. So people say, well, she's not from Savannah. Yeah, she grew up here, but when she got to that level of wanting to get better, her mom did the right thing, moved her to where she could get exposure.
And she goes to Sprayberry.
She went to Sprayberry High School. Not only that, Flau'jae was a McDonald's All-American. We've only had two, Purvis Ellison and Flau'jae Johnson. But you can't go to second and bypass first. It does not. You can't get to second base without going to first base. So if we're going to stop naming stuff, then you have to start with Purvis Ellison. Or Lucius Foster. I mean, there's so many. Gator Rivers, Andrew Knowles. We can keep going down the line. This is nothing new for athletes in Savannah, Georgia. There should be a statue in the heart of Savannah for the 1967 Beach High school basketball state champions. Because our kids don't know that. Of all of the Harlem Globetrotters that come out of Savannah, those guys need to be celebrated.
So I'll go back to what I wanted to go to before asking about Florida,
Yes, sir.
and that I'm gonna say that insanity. So we have Purvis Ellison from Savannah, Georgia. Purvis Ellison may acquire national attention. Purvis Ellison helped bring in millions of dollars for institutions called University of Louisville. Purvis Ellison, as you have said, there's nothing here named for him. But you can ride through Pembroke, and they gonna say that Pembroke, the home of such and such and so and so, who was Mr. Georgia in bodybuilding.
Yeah,
You can ride down to Riceboro and say Delisha Milton, home of
yeah,
Delisha Milton,
yeah.
Olympian. You had that happen. And what again, Coach Rob DeLoach throwing it out to you all. You see this in other locations, other places, but in Savannah, we don't see that. Chatham County, we don't go and see that. But these are people tied to us, and we pride ourselves saying that we celebrate history, we celebrate the stories of the accomplishments of the people here. You celebrate Eli Whitney, but you can't celebrate Purvis Ellison.
No.
And it's something we need to be thinking about. We need to be contemplating that, and then the impact that it has on with regards to our youth. So, um, Coach DeLoach, if we have young people who are not able to have access to these facilities, what do you foresee, or what? Not just what you foresee. What have you foreseen with regards to this?
I'll say this: these coaches, male and female, that volunteer their time to try to give back to our young people, we have to give them, kudos for that. What happens, Dr. Jamal, when you have that brotherhood and sisterhood of coaching young people, um, parents sometimes get comfortable with that, and then they lose focus of I still have to be a parent, and they won't entrust their kids with coaches. And what I've seen, once that 12-year-old kid gets to middle school, then we lose our kids from the age of 12 to 15, because now those coaches that have nourished them and have protected them from age 5 to 12, and their parents get to watch them play on Saturdays. Now they into middle school with just the PE teacher, the janitor, volunteer administrator to coach them. Now the game is played at 3 o'clock, and most parents work at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So I've coached middle school sports in my past, football, where there was only one or two parents at the game.
One or two parents.
One or two. And I coached in inner city schools. I chose Myers and I chose Hubert. And most of the times it was, kids that got out of school to watch the game, but not many parents could leave their jobs at 4 o'clock, to come watch their kid at 5 o'clock to watch them play. So when you look up in the stands, when you used to having your parents there at your little league games, now you get to middle school, that number goes down because parents have to work. So we have to figure out a way how we can take that same foundation, with our young people in the little leagues, and somehow incorporate that in the middle school, but they still have the same amount of resources. Pay these lay coaches, more than $500 or $700 to be out there with kids, and not necessarily have all the resources, because even lay coaches, they spend money on these children.
Yeah, yeah. And Brother Bernard White, he had put out there Mali Music. Mali Music is from here. Down throughout also, he named Mary Davis and Jimmy Lloyd Brown also. But then also you got Anthony David also. And then you look at other athletes who are from here that they threw out, put out there. And also they said Edwin Bailey. But then also Roy Simmons, Sugar Bear Simmons.
Yeah.
And again, looking
You got
at
Anthony Lanier that played at your alma mater.
and we rely on, and I shared this with you all in the beginning, that here it is, we have political campaigns going on this season right here. This is for the municipalities. And we have media outlets who go about besmirching, again, I was going to say, well, besmirching, degrading candidates who come from our communities. And we need to look at that. Why are they doing this? And so now they degrade us. They showcase your children if they engage in some criminal activity, but they don't call attention to the children not having access to recreational facilities here. Nothing. I know some of y'all trying to figure out where I'm going at. They don't call it out. They don't call it out at all. They don't call out and show. And they don't showcase the people who are doing great things. Instead, they'll go. Just to give you an example, they'll go and talk about a kid that comes from a private school here in Chatham County who then goes to become a walk-on kicker or punter at a school, and he's backup at that. He's walk-on, but a backup at that. He's the third string punter. They're going to do an article on them and showcase them, do a story on them. But then here you got all these other people who are noteworthy. But guess what? Part of the issue, I'll tell you right now, when it comes down to, because they are Black people, they are African Americans, they are African people. Because of that, they minimize it because we're not important with regards to what we're doing with regards to success. But if it's about trying to make us look bad, make us look negative, oh, that's what that sells. And so again, here it is. And then you have Black people, African Americans, who now sit along with Caucasians and then go along with them on this, and then even go and help the Caucasians with regards to trying to put a nail in our coffin with regards to about the respecting of us and then acknowledging us and make sure we have a proper quality of life. It is insane when you have people putting out literature, promoting literature and banter about what's not that mythology about our story. When our story is correct, and the people who you advocating for, these Caucasians you're advocating for, they're the ones trying to make their revised history. And so now they're revising our communities. When we no longer have the access, you no longer have the pals, you no longer have Boys Club being able to function where they need to function at. The West Side Whippers, Forsyth Flames, that the Stars, that again, the Steelers, that again, not having the access like they could have before. And you shared with me before, Coach, that you got kids who are practicing on field or grass that with rocks.
Yeah, if you
Those
go,
other kids, they don't have to worry about that. But your children, the predominant people who are viewing Run Tell That, your children are the ones that they now got to play in fields that got rocks on it, in the grass.
If you go,
everybody think it's okay.
If you go to Myers Middle School right now, where I coach baseball, there's not even a pitcher's mound for a kid or that school to be successful playing baseball because they don't have a pitcher's mound. They don't have bases. It's not even a line for the kids to know how to line up on the baseball diamond because guess what? The school doesn't provide it. That's poor leadership. But if you ride on the island, you would think it's Grayson Stadium.
And what we're looking at is the same institution with regards to this, the same institution. And so one side of the county, one side of the city will not get the same thing from the other side of the city and the county. And guess what? It should be level playing field for all of us. And that's what some of you advocate. We talk about that. That's what we want to see. We just want to have a level playing field. We just want to have the same things. We want to be treated equally. But then guess what? Some of us sit back and we say nothing. So with our elected officials, we say nothing to them. We are just happy to put them in office and whatever they tell us, we go along with it, as opposed to saying that, no, they work for you. And so right now, Coach, we are letting people tell us what to do and shutting down facilities that they go and renovate, but now children have no access to, and then now they can get caught into any type of negative behaviors during the summer and during the spring, during the fall, during the winter. And they had no opportunity. And then we don't go and look at it that we blame it on their parents or their grandparents. But when we, as elected officials, people operating nonprofits and working in agencies and departments and working in offices, we are not doing anything to ensure that they get a proper level, a proper step up with regards to, we make sure because everybody else is deserving of it, but we're not deserving of it. And I'm saying to y'all, I'm tired of it. I'm saying that now we need to step up to the plate. And Coach Deloach, you're going to have a camp going on. You have a give back that you do too. And when is that? And what is that about?
May 21st. May 21st. It's on a Sunday afternoon, starting from 12. It's a free camp that all of the college kids from Savannah, Georgia, that are playing college football. This is the time of the year that they're on their summer break, and they're going to come and help us give back to our kids in our community. It's probably one of the biggest ones thus far. In the first 2 days, we have over 50 kids registered. Normally, we cap it at 100, but we're just going to embrace everybody that registers, and those that don't register have access to social media. They can actually register at Memorial Stadium between the hours of 12 and 1. And if you come late, we're still going to take you. We want to make it into a big event. We have Big Boss Barbecue is going to be out there barbecuing. We got Big Kurt is be selling his peanuts, ball peanuts out there. And any other local vendors that want to participate, just give me a call. And, the flyer is posted on my social media page at Rob_Deloach. And you can get my number from Dr. Jamal, 912-224-5769. You can call, text, email, however we need to communicate. But we are taking as many kids from Savannah and our surrounding counties from 4th grade to 8th grade to give back to them with the guys that actually play at that level. And if parents have questions, they can ask the kids that actually play. This will be our 5th year, and it's growing every year. Like I say, it is free. It's free to the general public. It's free to surrounding towns, cities, and we just want to pack Memorial Stadium and give these kids a good showing and a good representation of who we are in the city of Savannah.
So, Coach Deloach, how were you able to get Memorial Stadium?
I was able to call the young man that was in charge of bringing sports to Savannah, and he's been trying to get 7-on-7 and just having tournaments. And he asked me, what was the cost? I say, for every camp that I've ever done, it's been free. So as long as it's free and the calendar was open, then I was able to book it. Not only did I book it for this year, I booked it until the day that the good Lord calls me home. So it will always be the third Sunday in May, as long as I am able to, give back. And once my time is up, then I will pass that torch on to my son. So this will be an annual event, and I'm on the calendar.
Okay. Again, Coach Rob Deloach, and we are here talking about the failure of our governments. And again, we have our state, our local governments, and initially I had failed it also throwing the school board, but the school board plays a role in this too. And that again, state, local governmental entities failing our children, failing our youth, and then we're trying to figure out why they're in the condition that they're in, because we all play a role. The adults around them play a role with regards to this. And so, Coach, now I'm gonna throw it up there, throw something out there that some information I had acquired and I found out about that. So when folks are gonna go, because just like I know what's gonna be happening in the future, if they say if it pleases God, some things are gonna happen. That you have young people who now become professional athletes, and when they now go and they meet the general managers, they meet the vice presidents, the presidents of these organizations, and the other people. And they said that when they go there, they look and notice that in this particular sport or these sports, you have a predominant African American, employment force. That's what it is. Basically, the employees that you have a predominant African American employment force. But then behind the scenes, the people running it are predominantly Caucasian. And so what then occurs is that so some of them, the Caucasians, now come to the African American, and I go to you and say, "What's up, homie? What's going on, brother?" Like, man, I'm giving you dap all that right there, and then you go and say to me, like, "Hold up, do I know you like that?" Then it's like, "Oh," they didn't say, "Oh, okay," and say that he has his degree, such and so on, so that's what he's about to do. So, so then they change their tune, but they come basically with the stereotypical mentality about you, thinking that you had no support and you had no one. And I've heard you talk about this, and heard Coach Carr talk about this, that these parents, I'm saying parents who are out here right now who listen, or people who know children, who know youth, who know parents, that how you must not leave your child to go with other people to showcase them. and that you need to have let any coaches, let any camps, let any professional general manager, anybody know that this person who you've not signed or this person that you're not going to have come play for you, that they have a team around them. They got a mama, daddy, grandmama, granddaddy. They got uncle, aunt. They got some people around them. So, what's your thoughts with regards to? I think some people out there need to hear this too, because that plays the same role with regards to we saying our government need to play a role and take care of our children properly and fairly, like they do with everybody else on the other side of this county. But then also now, when they now move on to another level.
Well, part of it is when you don't know, you don't know. You know, but as a parent, and I'll say this, and you know, we have to be responsible for our kids' success. We have to put them in situations where they can be successful. Meaning, for example, if you have a child that has a talent, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a sport. He could be in a band, cheerleader, whatever. When you're talking about, it's going to be two phases of this. When you're talking about going to college and going on college visits, it's your responsibility as a parent to take your son or daughter to that college. Don't put that on the coach. Don't put that on anybody else. You know, that is your responsibility. So, you know, you have to be responsible. They went the whole way. And if you don't want that responsibility, then somebody else is going to take credit for your son or daughter's success or for their failures, which they're not going to accept the failures. They're going to accept the success. So when the college coach comes out, as an African-American dad who has been through this 3 times, well, actually 4, 3 with my own children and 1 with my brother. The most intimidating part of any college visit, college professional phone call that I've had throughout the United States of America and coaches is that to know that he has a dad. And they will try to pit your son or daughter to remove the dad out of the picture.
Okay.
So dads, take control of your children, and mom, go along for the ride because there's power in numbers. When they see mom, dad, grandmama, they will take time to help grandmama get her a wheelchair, and they see that you have a family. It's a whole nother level of respect. Because now they know that when something happens, they can call home and have that support. So it works both ways. Because what they're going to tell you is that, oh, we're going to take care of your son. We're going to take care of your daughter. No, I don't need you to take care of them. That's my role. Your role is to be an extension of what they were raised at home. No, I don't need you to be a dad. He has a dad. He has a mother. He has an uncle. He has an auntie. Yes, he has family support. But when you don't show that they have that support, then you see a lot of things. You know, these kids struggle with mental health. To them, it's real. But when they don't have that support, they don't have nobody to call. Who's the coach going to call when they never met mom and dad? So be supportive of your kids. Because ultimately, if you invested all of this time in them playing Little League sports, being involved in cheerleading, tumbling, whatever that sport is, extracurricular activity, and then you get to the point that's the most crucial, and you're not there, it's like, why would you invest 8, 9, 10 years, and then when they get ready to go to college, you're not involved? And those 4 years are probably the most delicate years of their life when it comes to being away from home, developing those social skills, relationships, finding out who they really are away from mom and dad, but also knowing they have that support. And that's huge with our kids nowadays.
All right. Coach Rob DeLoach. And so, Coach, we got 2 more minutes left. So what do you think the city, the county, and the Board of Education should be doing in regards to recreation and our youth? What should they do?
Well, they're going to continue to do what they've been doing because they don't know what they think they're doing a whole hell of a lot. But until the parents get involved and start blowing up their telephones and emailing them and holding town hall meetings to talk about the growth of the city when it comes to, you know, recreation and outlets for our children, then they're not going to do anything else. So It's the citizens of Savannah, Chatham County, that's going to have to get up out of their comfort zone and go ask the questions. If you don't know, call me. I have 2 phones for a reason. And then, if we can organize, then, like I said, it's power in numbers. You have to hold them accountable because they're not going to do anything. Because most of them don't know what to do. And they're too embarrassed to go out there and try to figure out how we can get better. So you can't expect them to do something that they don't know what to do.
Okay. All right. And this has been Coach Rob DeLoach of The Factory 2717. I'll just share this with you all again. His daughter Taylor, track athlete, son Kalen, football athlete, and his son Jalen, basketball athlete, but they're also scholar athletes. So they also understand the importance of getting the education. That's why they are there. And again, they have done this. They've been able to do this. Coach Rob DeLoach and his wife Ivy, they made sure to nurture their children for them to be successful. He stepped up to the plate, and he also goes and does this with a number of hundreds of others out there also in our community, making sure that they come back and delivering what they need to deliver and paying homage to those who laid the path. So again, we're glad to have Coach DeLoach. The only thing I ever say is that I saw Coach Carter with a gold-lettered 2717 shirt on last week. I saw one last week. Coach Carter had it on. I saw it. And I was right there, all the stuff I found out on the street. And I see Coach Carter 2717, his gold stuff. He came to my class with it on. And I was just like, wow. I can't make it one.
Now, it ain't for everybody. And me and Coach Sam Carter are the stars. And you are the pupil. So the pupil and the stars don't wear the same clothing. You're a doctor. I'm not. I can't just give myself Dr. Rob DeLoach. I can't do that. I didn't earn that. So, Doc, I'll say just keep climbing. And eventually, when you get the gold shirt, we'll be wearing platinum. So it'll be outdated. So don't ever think you're going to be on the level of me and the great Sam Carter. We appreciate you. You coming. You're getting better. Your clothes fit real nice on you. You get a lot of compliments. But you'll never be able to wear the same shirt that me and the great Sam Carter will wear. That's why we only made 2.
This has been Coach Rob DeLoach on Run Tell That.
Hey, man, thanks for having me, Doc. Keep doing what you're doing, man, and we're going to keep climbing, man. We're not going to give up.
That's right. Appreciate it. And to the Run Tell That family, we're back live. Again, we're going to come with some exciting things. We're going to have, again, a chemistry segment. That's going to be Darian Harper, our scientist. And then also do some farming stuff also, letting people understand, with regard to we're doing it. You cannot have a revolution if you can't feed yourself, and if you can't think for yourself, and if you can't take care of yourself. So, yeah. See y'all. Run Tell That. Check y'all out next week. Be safe. Be well. We'll see you, Coach DeLoach.
Yes, sir. Peace out.
I like that.